Halt, Colonel. I believe you have something which does not rightfully belong to you. Fürchten Sie, das Schwert ist schnell und scharf. I'm sure it's very sharp, but a sword is bootless in your situation. Watson, remember the Kaiser's words. Take no chances. He's sure to have a pistol in the gondola. Shoot him if he moves to escape. I will have that formula. Es ist gefährlich, Ballon zu schießen. Dangerous by all means, Colonel, with the hydrogen gas and all. But the doctor is an expert shot, and you are a large target. This sword is distinctly unbalanced. That's very odd.
Perhaps such a weapon sliced away part of his face.
Not one in this condition. The hilt is light and unstable. Here's the evidence I've been seeking, Watson. I know you recently witnessed the murder of Thomas Pratt. Why was he killed? Who pulled the trigger? Ich spreche kein Englisch. An agent of your experience without language skills? I don't think so. No, that won't do at all. Mein Name ist Wachhund. Ich bin preußischer Diplomat. Not hardly, guard dog. You're no ordinary diplomat. The Imperial Chancellor will be censured and ridiculed when this treachery is revealed.
Warum? Why? I am alone. I act alone. I am my own person. No one gives me orders.
False. You are von Bismarck's agent. It will all come out at your trial. Your failure will further degrade the Chancellor's declining reputation. The Kaiser himself is deeply embarrassed by your perfidy. He asked especially that I mention Bussol's Swoboda to you. What do you say to that?
Give me a moment, please. May I take schnapps?
If you must, withdraw your hand slowly. Watson, what's happening? Has he ingested something virulent?
His skin is moist, and the scent of bitter almonds lingers on his breath.
Sounds like a hydrocyanic poison. They're often lethal.
He's already gone.
The balloon's an ingenious contraption, is it not? Flight by simple physics.
Our national fog was an ally for once. Möllendorf had to wait for the sun's warmth to take off. But what gumption, ballooning across the channel.
No problem for the initiated. We'd be in a fine mess had he reached the continent. The guard dog possessed a kind of courage, or rashness, perhaps.
Suicide is too complex to admit of a simple description.
I pressed him too hard. The Kaiser's message broke him.
You're not a mind reader, I think. There are some things even you cannot affect. Do not reproach yourself.
I do not mind his death, Watson, except as it affects our investigation. Death is a conclusion for him alone. We are still far from home, struggling to find our way. Suggestions, Doctor?
Where proof of his demise ever required by official enquiry or from a less public forum, a reliable record would not be unwelcome.
Needham said nothing about a uniform. Where are his civilian clothes, I wonder?
At left luggage in Victoria Station?
He wouldn't travel by train in his uniform and saber. Too conspicuous. This photographic image is remarkably crisp. I'm certain it's the formula.
Is it authentic?
The author could confirm that. More to the point, is it unique?
I'm impressed that you predicted a copy of the formula in his possession. But every discovery we make gives rise to further questions. Apparently our inquiry will never end. It's very vexing.
Take heart, Doctor. If my idea of the case is accurate, we're closer to a clear resolution than you suspect. Much closer. For our purposes, the photograph may be worth less than the paper it's printed on. Mullendorf failed to exercise even an imitation of good judgment. I wonder why.
Desperation can make even a wise man foolish.
But what made him desperate? Fortunately, he stayed in England long enough for us to find him. He might have left at any time.
Perhaps he had to wait for what he came for.
I'm sure you're right. He had to wait for this copy, but the question remains, why? Piloting a balloon must be a calling, rather like the priesthood. Both require a spirit of high adventure.
Indeed, the latter depends on the heavens, while the former depends from them.
You may have been too long in the sun, Doctor. I'm sorry, Wiggins. My carelessness put you at risk.
It came out all right, Mr. Holmes. I've been in worse spots.
You take less notice of danger than a hansom takes of horse manure. Nothing else to say.
You owes me for the train ride from Victoria.
I'll pay you. Now, the villain is deceased and the shed may explode. Are you ready to travel, my boy? We should leave before the fire brigade turns up.
I'm ready. I know it's wrong, Mr. Holmes, but I'm glad he's dead. Can I have a souvenir of him what tried to snap me?
Take the sword, then, and let's be off. What is it, Watson? You look perplexed.
The boy, Holmes, where is he?
Calm yourself, Doctor. Don't you imagine Jonas would have informed us if anything untoward had happened to Virgil? Could I have a chocolate bar, please? The largest you have.
Oh, I never figured you for a sweet tooth, Mr. Holmes.
Can't abide it. Fortunately for the manufacturer, not everyone shares my poor opinion of the stuff. And it does have its uses. Do you know where Virgil has got to, Jonas?
Mrs. Hudson took him to one of her cronies.
Why? Was he ill?
The lad was feeling pretty low, Mr. Holmes. Thought he'd been abandoned.
Yes, I can see that. Thoughtless of me.
Mrs. Hudson is a generous woman. I put her in the picture. The boy will remain with her until you give the word.
Thank you, Jonas. Are you feeling all right, Wiggins?
Doing fine, Mr. Holmes.
I'm happy to hear it. Come in, Mrs. Hudson. Analysis complete. Traces of ammonium nitrate may have a name, Dewar.
Terse bordering on rude, but intriguing. Perhaps we should further impose on the Professor's obviously valuable time.
It's time we made a move, Watson.
Carry on, Holmes. I'll follow your lead.
Professor, what did your analysis of the clock spring reveal?
It should be understood that my equipment is not sophisticated enough to provide definitive results.
Nor is mine. I'll settle for what you have.
Fine. Well, a very hot fire fused distinguishable traces of a particular mixture of ammonium nitrate to the spring.
Ammonium nitrate is often used in certain explosives, is it not?
Exactly. It occurred to me that if you wanted to know more about the bomb, you might talk to David Lloyd-Jones. He knows more about the practical side of explosives than most scientists. His sister looks after him in Walworth.
He couldn't have set this bomb?
He's an invalid. Hasn't left the house in years. No, he was thinking that most bombers have a signature. There's not enough here for anyone to discern the maker's handwriting. But if he'll talk to you, Lloyd-Jones may recognise some letters.
Do you have anything else for me, Professor?
I think not, Mr. Holmes. Now, you really must excuse me. If I don't attend more closely to my experiment, this entire block could become a crater.
I'd like to have another look at your formula, Professor.
Help yourself, Mr. Holmes. Look only, mind.
We seek guidance on a technical matter, miss. Might we have a word with Mr. Lloyd-Jones?
Depends on the subject and his mood. My brother enjoys company, but he's no longer involved with incendiaries. Please be brief, Mr. Holmes. He's not robust.
Thank you, miss. Your bungalow is charming, a shrine to your housekeeping.
Thank you. I pray it is not too wrong of me to be proud of it.
I'm sure it is not. I'm sorry we find you feeling poorly, sir.
I'm not suffering, just dying. Heard of you, haven't I? Holmes, the police agent?
The epithet is erroneous. I'm investigating a suspicious explosion. Have you had any recent callers?
No one calls on me anymore, except my health visitor.
That's right. I've warned off the unwashed that used to hang about. David's been out of that life for years.
Nearly out of life, period.
Would you answer some questions about your former speciality?
My sister's shamed by my past. I won't cause her any further pain. Please leave us alone. I've nothing to say and I'm very tired.
Very nice piano. On what terms did you purchase it?
You've mistaken your own importance if you expect an answer to that offensive question. You're finished here, Mr. Holmes.
Professor Dewar thought you might be able to help us with our inquiry.
Even a brilliant chemist may err. Decent man, Dewar, but politically naive. His work will be exploited by reckless men. He won't share in the profits, but he'll suffer the consequences of their folly.
When did you acquire the piano?
Not long ago, a present to my sister. We share a love for music.
It must have set you back a hefty sum.
Deserves diamonds, good as she is. But she must settle for a pianola. Never had time to take instruction.
May I play something for you?
No, don't. No thank you. Music drives me batty.
That's a remarkable change of tune. Without a lever, I fear we'll get nothing substantive from him.
Agreed. And his disposition may be further constrained by his sister's presence.
Her absence may be arranged.
I put it to you flatly, Holmes. I'll do nothing to compel her to neglect him.
Who asked you to do any such thing?
I know you, Holmes. Swear it never crossed your mind.
I will not blaspheme on command or otherwise. The woman works. I can wait for it. A very cozy bungalow, don't you think, Watson?
I do, Holmes, I do. Trim, secure, benign. I can hardly think this will be a productive destination for us.
It won't be the first time we have put a wrong foot forward in this investigation. You've received no visitors recently, miss?
The vicar came for tea Sunday last. He and David had a row.
That man is an idiot.
You witnessed the argument?
Of course. David receives no one when I'm at my work.
Professor Dewar believes that you know more about explosives than most scientists.
I note, if I didn't before, that brilliance and infallibility are not twins. What's your point?
Have you recently shared your vast knowledge of incendiaries with anyone?
No.
Who cares for you when Miss Lloyd-Jones is at her work?
I care for myself, in a manner of speaking. But over time, I would perish like an exposed infant without her. I'm a useless burden, of course.
I'm sure she doesn't think so. It's clear she loves you deeply.
I raised her after our pa was killed, but now she keeps me. It's a painful slog for her. Fortunately, it won't last much longer.
Do you follow radical politics, Lloyd-Jones?
My sister reads to me. I'm interested since England has become the sole haven for radicalism in Europe.
Do you preach and practice radicalism? Do not insult me by pleading your condition. There is nothing wrong with your brain.
I suppose I must thank you for the compliment. If it suits you to ferret out revolutionary materials without a warrant, I might add, go ahead. I could use a laugh.
Judging by the etchings in the kitchen, your sister approves of the monarchy.
My sister is a good but misguided woman. Her political sympathies are deplorable.
You don't share her sentiments?
Royalty, nobility, that lot is finished. They've made naught of their day. Working people won't tolerate another century of oppression.
I'd like to ask you some questions about a bombing, not a hypothetical one.
I must endure what I can't prevent.
You've heard the Diogenes Club in Westminster was leveled by an explosion. My brother was nearly killed in that blast.
That was no bomb, a gas leak, they said.
So the police think. But you and I know better, I think. Examination of the debris revealed your signature mixture of explosive chemicals.
I'm sorry to hear it. About your brother, that is.
Your health has deteriorated since last I saw you. Can I get you anything?
Your powers of observation are only adequate. You must see that no human agency can help me.
What is this money in the piano?
My sister's savings. She doesn't trust the bank.
All new bills? I doubt it.
You won't be surprised if I don't care whether you do or not.
And the cigars?
A visitor must have left them.
By your own admission, you have had no visitors. This packet of fivers is more than enough to ruin you.
It would be a hollow victory, but your reach exceeds your grasp. You want to extract more from your observations than you can prove.
Wrong. Now listen to me, sir. You supplied the explosive recipe to the bomber. The cigars are from him. His money bought the piano. These fivers came from him. You are not my quarry, but I will not hesitate to bring the police down on you and your sister. I will stop at nothing to punish those who tried to kill my brother.
I believe you, Holmes, and I fear you. I suspected I'd made a mistake. Now I know it. Now I must pay for it.
To whom did you sell the recipe for the bomb?
Man named Vincent. Said he wanted the recipe for some confidential business. Claimed he was a mining engineer.
Did you believe him?
I purchased the piano with what he paid for my credulity.
What can you tell me about him?
Not much. He had an educated voice, young and a bit of an accent. A strong hand, a distinctive smell. Not tobacco, but earthy, sweet and sour at the same time. He seemed earnest, bright, and in a hurry. He was no engineer.
Did he ever mention the Diogenes?
He didn't. I hope I would have said no if he'd told me his intention. But I can't say for certain. I saw an opportunity to put some money by for my sister, and I took it.
This Vincent, you saw him just the once?
Twice. A few days ago he asked me to vet an explosive he claimed was for sale. Much of it was beyond me. But I understood the formula recorded something with awesome power. Told him to talk to Dewar. He laughed at that. Told me to keep mum.
And you became suspicious?
Sure. It was proof of something dodgy if I needed more. He paid as much for information as for silence. Without you, he would have had both for £200 and a box of cigars.
I want to take this money to an expert. You may have received both more and less than you thought.
Not the real article. I wondered. You'd think with so little life left to me, I'd have at least learned that you don't get something for nothing. The cigars are real, I suppose. What can I expect from you, Holmes?
You made an error, Lord Jones. Please don't make another. If he comes to you again, get word to me. I'll leave my card.
I'm grateful. For my sister's sake, I thank you. I did not want to die in jail.
Suggestions, Watson?
He is not strong, Holmes. I'm not sure we should question him further. Might we simply examine the room? He can't have left here for weeks.
I'm sorry, Watson, you may be right, but I cannot do otherwise. He is my only lead to Mycroft's assailant. Have you moderated your views toward anarchists, Watson?
Since the Haymarket riot, I've been hard on radicals of every stripe. They're reckless agitators who stir up trouble for its own sake.
That characterization is too broad, Doctor. Like most bias, it is not without some foundation, but it is a prejudice nonetheless. I'd swear it's not albuminized paper. I couldn't solve for gold in any case. Determining the active salt would be helpful.
The photographer's choice of paper is hardly a signature.
It could be, were it distinctive, a chloride mix or potassium or a bromide. Bromides are sparingly soluble in ammonia. I'll prepare a sample.
What can you learn from that milky mixture?
Nothing. But if I blend in a measure of chloroform, the combination will separate into 2 layers. The solvent will take the metal and settle in the bottom. If it's bromide, it'll turn brown. Bromide it is, Watson.
And some photographer has turned his expert eye to quite a different line of work.
I plan to put my thumb in that particular orifice straight away. You have doubtless remarked how the tendrils of this matter creep and entwine around photography.
The formula, Pratt's friend, the engagement portrait, the photos stolen from Lawton's, I know, but making something of it is beyond my powers.
Concentrate, Doctor. My brain is jangling. We are close to untangling this tragic mess.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Let us resume our investigation, Watson.
I'm prepared to follow you anywhere, Holmes.
Won't be a moment, gentlemen. The sample portraits are my calling card. Feast your eyes and help yourselves.
I believe I've happened upon a sample of your work, Mr. Hargrove.
You're a collector, then? I'll have to number you among my admirers, Mr. Helms.
The name is Holmes, Sherlock Holmes.
I've heard that name, I'm sure. What do you have?
You've been playing a very dangerous game, Hargrove, and I intend to put you out. You'll want more privacy, I think. Let's go in back.
You have no special privileges here. Go peddle your ridiculous accusations elsewhere, or I shall call the police.
No, Mr. Hargrove. The tables have turned. I may call them myself. Remark, Watson. Pornography is so predictable.
That is a libelous characterization. I am an artist.
We won't argue the point now. Let's just say you're an idiot. No doubt your avocation is more lucrative than conventional portraiture.
My business is hardly your concern.
To your misfortune, Hargrove, you and what you are pleased to call your business have become obsessions. Watson, you might ring Lestrade. Tell him to bring a warrant for this reprobate. We're dealing with a habitual criminal, traitor, pornographer, and who knows what else.
Hold on now, you're not the police. Don't be hasty.
Your distinctive fixing process made you suspect, Hargrove. Your unique printing out paper indicted you.
Others may use the same combinations, not as well, of course.
I believe that under special circumstances, traitors may still be hanged.
We could perhaps explore the possibility that I may have been compelled to do something a bit beyond legal, but I'm not a traitor.
Where is your negative library?
Clients usually take their negatives with their proofs. I discard the remainder. I have no storage facilities.
I suppose I must toss the place, if only to discover if you lie from habit or for cause. Who hired you to copy the formula?
I will not respond while under duress.
You have misread your role, Hargrove. You will dictate no terms. I can make duress a permanent condition of your life. Cooperation may win you consideration. Change your act now, or I will take you down.
Perhaps I've been hasty, Mr. Holmes. But I am terribly frightened. I'm actually a victim in this travesty. Honestly, I didn't wish to do wrong. A lout named Scarrett brought the original document to me and demanded I make a copy.
He's a fat man, middle-aged, fair.
No, he's a young blade, dark as an Italian, the eyes of a bipedal predator, and fond of the poppy, I noticed.
You were well paid for your work?
Not a farthing. Money was not offered nor requested. I was forced by other means.
Of all the photographers in London, why were you chosen for this task?
A crisp image of a printed page is not easy. The subject matter added to the difficulty. I have a certain reputation.
Not one you'd like your mother to hear of, I'll wager. You said you were compelled. How? By whom?
These people are savages, Holmes. I can say no more. It was as I'm telling it. Take my word for it.
Not likely. I'm sure you sport the type of vices that make you an easy mark for a blackmailer.
Fine. Let's say some of my more adventurous photographs fell into the wrong hands.
I wonder Scarrett did not request a daguerreotype. He might at least have made a pretense of selling a unique copy.
He rejected my suggestion. Ignorance, I imagine, insisted on the collodion, wanted the negative.
Obviously, but for what purpose? The Prussian would have wanted exclusivity. Perhaps Scarrett intends to sell the formula more than once. Perhaps you kept a copy, thinking you might do some business on your own.
Only the strongest compulsion could make me violate my ethical standards.
Oh, please, your lies are lame, and even your excuses have peg legs. How did you inform Scarrett that the photograph was ready?
He returned at an appointed time.
I think not. He didn't want you to think the work was urgent. No, you telephoned him. That was his idea. He'd want as little exposure as possible. What is his telephone number?
Perhaps I did telephone him, but the number has slipped from my memory. I'm quite remiss in that department.
Your reputation precedes me wherever I go in London, Mr. Hargrove.
You must associate with a fine class of people.
An acquaintance has suggested that you regularly create composites, that is to say, bogus photographs.
Rubbish. Your friend is misinformed. Young people so often are. Composites are an expensive and potentially dangerous business. I wouldn't consider it.
Mr. Hargrove, I'm in a position to do you very little good and a great deal of harm.
Is that intended as a warning?
It is simply a fact. Remember it as we speak.
If you insist, Mr. Holmes, I shall try. It must queue up as one of many urgent claims on my memory.
I wish to see the contents of this cabinet. Will you give me the combination?
I never use it.
Really, I can't recall the last time I put anything in there. I forget things, you see. They disappear. In all the excitement, I've forgotten it completely. It may come to me, but I doubt it.
Whose telephone number have you kept? Is it Scarrett's?
Please, Mr. Holmes, I beg you.
If you expect me to care, you'll have to say more.
I cannot. I will not.
You face ruination and prison, and still you will not help yourself. Who is capable of causing such fear? Not Scarrett, I think. Silence will neither serve nor save you, Hargrove. When I find this fiend, and I will, I'll let it be known that you betrayed him. I have no doubt that this is what Lawton was afraid of. This is what caused him to agree to terminate the Ministry investigation.
I'm hopeful that you'll explain yourself.
Given his penchant for self-promotion, why is none of his work displayed?
Perhaps it is too artistic for exhibition.
True, salacious subject matter thrives on reputation, but it requires occasional viewing. Perhaps he keeps his naughty bits secreted away, as young boys hide French postcards. A photographer's chemicals have much in common with those used in the manufacture of explosives.
I'm a novice, as you witnessed.
Cellulose nitrates are the basis of high explosives. Is our photographer a bomber?
I doubt it, and so do you.
Do you know the woman in the photo?
She certainly looks familiar.
She should. It's a somewhat younger Alexandra, the Princess of Wales. The plan was diabolical, Watson, and I've been a dunce. Early on, I dismissed the idea of a compromising composite.
Not surprisingly, the idea never crossed my mind. But why did you reject the notion?
I refused to believe Lawton so weak as to risk his nation's security on the strength of a bogus picture, even one that might scotch his marriage prospects. I never dreamed that a royal person would be fitted up as his fictitious partner.
I see. Circulation of such a photo would initiate a scandal. It would sully the monarchy, shake the government, and ruin his personal hopes with Lady Lockridge.
His behavior becomes comprehensible, but not forgivable. He is culpable in this matter. There is still a price for foolishness, though he may not have to pay it in public. Central Exchange? This is the Lord Mayor's office. A document here requires urgent delivery, but I only have the party's telephone number. Can you supply me with the address, please? Holborn 232. That's just beyond the viaduct, is it? Thank you. Mystery importing indeed. Please connect me to Holborn 232. I beg your pardon. Wrong number. Someone is there, Watson.
Excellent.
Did Scarrett commission the composite of Lord Lawton and the Princess Royale?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do not trifle with me, Hargrove. You lack the wit and intelligence. Scarrett stole these photographs from Lord Lawton. He hired you to construct a composite from them.
Hardly hired, but I did a beautiful job. The Princess and Lawton look like two lovebirds.
You kept a copy?
Absolutely not. She is a royal personage. Scarrett took the negative.
Give me the name of Scarrett's boss or suffer the consequences. There is no third way.
Major Mystery telephoned. Told me to expect Scarrett and to accommodate him.
Peculiar name. Why did Mystery's message mean anything to you?
The Major is more frightening than a nightmare, and as elusive. That he is never seen, that his disembodied voice personally never threatens, contributes to his reputation for ruthless evil. When the Major asks for something, compliance is guaranteed. Denial is not an option.
What makes you say so?
Henry Chambers' gold watch.
Explain.
Chambers was a friend. He ran afoul of the Major and thought to make his escape. I saw him off for France with his wife and child. They've disappeared. Their luggage sits unclaimed on the quay at Calais. When Scarrett first came in, he showed me Chambers' watch.
The action begins to quicken, Watson. Are you ready to proceed?
You've rushed ahead of me, Holmes. Are we after Scarrett?
We'll get to Scarrett. I know him now. He's dangerous, but a lackey nonetheless.
The man's a savage.
Indeed. His attack on Mycroft was reckless and crude. He might have killed 20 men with no more thought than had he squashed a cockroach.
The execution of Pratt was gratuitously vicious, and he ordered the murder of the Silverbridge boy without a moment's hesitation.
All true. Still, this conspiracy is too big for him. It requires a criminal operative of quite a different order. Our quarry is the eponymously named Major Mystery. Are you ready to proceed, Doctor? The case increases in interest.
And in danger, I imagine. Should the police be notified?
I'd rather circulation of the stories of the Ministry theft and the extortion involving a royal person be severely restricted.
Perhaps Hargrove should be immobilized. I wouldn't want Major Mystery or Scarrett prepared for our arrival.
No. Hargrove has parted company with the Major. If he follows his form, the Major will demand swift and violent retribution for the betrayal. Lestrade affords him the only protection he can expect this side of heaven. He won't do anything that might alienate the institution that can protect him. Do we understand one another, Hargrove?
Perfectly. I never saw the formula or the royal person. You were never here. Give me the telephone. Perhaps Lestrade could find me a private cell while his office undertakes a lengthy investigation into an accusation of pornography. I'll suggest it. Weary.
I believe I hear snoring.
Pipe down then. Our advantage will be lost.
The key's in place, but my pinky's too big to shift it.
A lucky thing, too. What good would it have done to dislodge it?
I heard a distinct clink. We've likely lost the element of surprise. I'm an idiot, Watson.
Nonsense, Holmes. Perhaps it didn't fall far from the door. If he hasn't heard us before now, that noise won't alert him.
Gentlemen, I was resting my eyes. I didn't...
Stay where you are, Mystery. Speak when spoken to and keep your hands in view. Mycroft might be interested in this, or perhaps Scotland Yard.
Are you trying to cause a hernia?
Will you waste time at this critical juncture?
The line is active. I don't think anyone else should use it.
You're not going to use that as a cudgel, I hope.
No, though you won't deny that he deserves it. Major Mystery, I am Sherlock Holmes.
Were he here, I'm sure Mystery, that's Misteray, would excuse your common mispronunciation of his name. I am Jeremiah M. Story, an acquaintance.
If you like, why not Jose Ray Martin? Never mind. Offal by any other name smells the same.
Your speech, Mr. Holmes, is as offensive as your presence is unwanted. To what do I owe this unorthodox intrusion?
To crime, you scoundrel. Your crimes and those of your despicable surrogates have brought me here. Your insidious scheme has unraveled completely, Mr. A. Will you confess your part in it?
I would deem your declaration to be less than worthless if I knew what you were talking about.
Your plan to sell Professor Dewar's formula to von Bismarck is ruined. Your client has killed himself, and his copy of the formula is seized. The crimes committed to support your plan have failed. I'm about to tie an adamantine knot around a large and cruel conspiracy, and you are the rope. Plain enough?
Talk is cheaper and your time less valuable than I had imagined.
Where is the key for this drawer?
I have no idea. I don't believe Mr. A keeps anything in there.
A locked drawer with nothing in it? I don't think so. Empty your pockets. What are these fish?
Aurora and Borealis, fascinating creatures. They're Amazonian piranhas, the world's most predacious and voracious characines.
Suitable companions for you, I'm sure. You are many things, Mr. A, but not slovenly, I think.
My name is Story. Why do you address me incorrectly?
What can your name matter? However you call yourself, you are certainly a villain. How long has the aquarium been here?
I have no idea. It's not mine, as I've said. You are not quite as bright as I've been led to believe, Mr. Holmes.
I won't be distracted by puerile insults.
I merely state an opinion. Such chicanery is beneath me.
Nothing is beneath you. You are the sort of contemptible outlaw who coerces others to do his bidding, a completely amoral puppet master. And I will stop at nothing to destroy you and your agents.
I have nothing more to say to you, Holmes. Call in the hobnailed boots if you wish. My solicitor will deal with them.
How do you find the mastermind of this criminal enterprise?
Appearances must be deceiving, Holmes. He looks like my estate agent.
Do not underestimate him, Watson. The range of this conspiracy is decisive proof that behind the tranquil facade lives a malignant brain. He commands a network of thugs and vulnerable dupes. No crime is too great for their collective contemplation and execution. In every man's misfortune, he sees an opportunity to do harm. I'd venture there are a multitude of crimes recorded in this ledger.
Perhaps, but what little is legible is incomprehensible.
Mycroft might find it diverting. He subscribes to Poe's notion that there is no enigma that human ingenuity can construct, that human ingenuity, with proper application, may not resolve.
Have you lost your mind, Holmes? Control your temper. You'll only mutilate your hand. That glass is specially hardened. Couldn't break it with a hammer.
I will have that trident, Watson.
You are cruel, Mr. Holmes. Poor, defenseless creatures.
It is typically repulsive and perverted that you reserve your sympathy for things vicious by nature, rather than inclination. Look here, Watson. Evidence, so dear to the heart of Scotland Yard. Are you still smug, Mr. A?
I think so little of your acumen, let alone your evidence. Silence will serve me best. None of those things can be tied to me.
I don't wonder you've lost your voice. All your plans have now gone south. Your attempt to compromise British security has failed utterly.
What have you found, Holmes?
Enough to cook a very tough goose. German currency, a wad of fibers, and the photographic negative of Dewar's formula. This string is played out, Mr. A. Where is the scurrilous composite of Lord Lawton and Princess Alexandra? Does Vincent Scarrett have it?
You continue to allude to matters about which I have no knowledge.
My eye, I'm sure you've insulated yourself from direct involvement in these several crimes. As you won't give up, Skerritt, we'll let Scotland Yard and your underworld colleagues sort it out. I'll parcel out the details in my own manner. The report will not show you in good light.
Vincent is like a son to me, Mr. Holmes, but I'm truly mortified by these vile allegations. If he has wandered beyond the bounds of good judgment, and it appears from what I've seen and heard that he might have done, I could hazard a guess about where he might be found, providing Lestrade and the others you mentioned may be kept out of this.
I'm listening, Mr. A. Naturally, I will have to test your veracity.
A nasty den on the river is his favourite haunt. Place has a nautical name. Vincent's a bit rough on the margins, with a few unfortunate habits.
Your appraisal is too modest. He is in fact a brutal killer, a cruel extortionist, and an unredeemable villain.
That as may be, but you'll discover he's as docile as a house cat. I warn you, any calumny against me will fall on deaf ears. He may turn mute.
I will find his tongue. The connection between Skerritt and Pratt is finally clear, Watson. They were opium eaters.
Indeed? I didn't see it. I don't see it still.
Hargrove saw it, and Lloyd Jones smelled it. The two met, smoked, and shared secrets common to their addiction. Unbeknownst to Pratt, Skerritt was trawling for information, and he hooked it.
You mean he learned that Pratt was a ministry clerk with access to sensitive documents?
Yes, he learned all about Mycroft's ministry committee. The foibles and frailties of the members would be well known to Pratt, especially Lawton. They would be fine topics for conversation.
So Skerritt coerced him to steal the formula with something he learned during their sessions. What might they have had on him?
Debts? Evidence of unethical or immoral behavior? Perhaps they threatened him with death or mutilation. I've been gathering wool, Watson. I had this information and didn't put it together. You stay here. I will see Skerritt in his den, or know the reason why.
Will you go alone?
Hold on. I thought our business was completed. I've given you Vincent.
You were mistaken. Skerritt is a servant, and you are his master. He can do everything for you except serve your jail sentence.
Easy, Holmes. Haste makes waste, or whatever cliché might bring you to your senses. Let's bring Lestrade into this now.
Do you think Skerritt will simply slink away as the net closes around him? The man is capable of anything, and he tried to kill my brother.
Your zeal has overcome your judgment. Don't be rash in your rush for revenge. If you go to that den as you are, you'll come to harm.
Don't fear. I will travel incognito, but I must take my chances alone. He must not get wind of all that has happened. Guard Mr. A. Watson. Farewell. We shall meet again.
Merde!
Do you know the real names of any of your customers?
Who's asking and why? What business is it of yours?
I asked a civil question, my man. Can't you offer a civil answer?
No. Now shut your hole and bugger off. I got nothing more to say to your likes. You're about to hoist a foul cargo, mister. It's rivermen and sailor boys only back there. Move on or they'll find your liver round the Isle of Dogs.
Shovel!
I need a nautical ensemble stitch. Can you help?
A late invitation to a dress ball, Mr. Holmes. Never go wrong as Lord Nelson.
Admiral of the Fleet is too patrician. Something much further down the ranks would serve me better.
But there's plenty of seaman's gear in the back. A patch and spike will sell the look. Just return 'em as you found 'em.
Any advice on how to carry off the disguise?
Well, avoid arg or shiver me timbers, you'll do fine.
Merde!
Give me a place in the back, mate.
That's not how it's done, old salt. Been here before, have you?
Seen your mug half a dozen times, you Tasmanian devil.
There's something familiar about you. You know my rules, then?
They just slipped out of mind.
No strangers, no credit, no noise, no exceptions.
You've got your Luca. The matches is my bona fides, all right?
Fine as far as it goes, mate, but you still owe me something.
I'm trying to lose my troubles and you put more in my way.
Just protecting my business. I got a reputation. Can't let just anybody back there. Now tell me what I want to hear or take a hike. Take a hike!
You and your parrot aren't Freemasons, are you? Or explorers?
Damnation, blasting bloody hell, what are you talking about?
Nothing, I suppose.
Don't play around. You've worn out your welcome. What's the words?
I think I remember the word you're looking for.
I'm all ears.
Shovel!
All right then, go on through. Pipes are on the left.
Take a hike!
Remember now, no trouble, no noise.
Deranged as you are, Skerritt, I'm not surprised you seek consolation in this den of iniquity.
Interfere with me at your peril, sailor. You don't know what you're dealing with.
False. You're a vicious criminal. Fortunately for the rest of us, your competence is not equal to your intent. My brother survived the outrage at the Diogenes. Young Silverbridge is safely rescued, and the Ministry formula never left the country. Even in your brutal and senseless murder of the hapless Pratt, you lost your gun. Not a good innings for you. Consider yourself detained. You'll be hanged at Crown expense.
It's the great Holmes, is it, in that sailor gear? Go peddle your papers. The police have no proof I've committed a crime.
Not yet, but I have a witness who saw you execute Pratt. Your defeat is total. Your paramour is dead, likewise your Prussian client. The ill-gotten money has been seized along with your patron. Incidentally, contrary to popular opinion, there is no honor among thieves. Mr. A betrayed you in an instant.
Did you think you would talk me into submission? I should have done you on the Cambridge train. I didn't see the reason then, but it's clear I might have saved myself some trouble. So to all vermin.
Drop it, Scarrett. Your real trouble is about to begin.
Fine disguise, Holmes. Your mother wouldn't know you. But what's happened here? I heard shots.
Scarrett gave me no selection, Watson. He is dead by a bullet from his own gun, and disposed of. Perhaps Needham will make a half-crown from his body. What was I playing at? I should have known he would have had another weapon. Where is Mr. A, by the way?
I handed him over to the inspectors you sent. They slipped the derbies on him and let him off.
The diabolical sod is clever, Watson. He deceived you. I sent no one. Pride goes before the fall, they say. We'll get another chance at him.
I'm feeling a bit unsteady, Holmes. Might we leave?
Of course, Doctor. A wash and a stiff scotch will set us to rights. The man who tried to kill Mycroft is dead. I rather wish I didn't feel so good about it. It will pass. Mycroft must be informed. I don't relish the prospect of seeing Matron again.
Perhaps she's warmed to you.
No more than a lap rug might warm the polar cap. I'll write to him first. We'll look in on Mycroft when he returns to the arms.
Yes, so your message said. Wonderfully detailed, by the way. The minister was most impressed. Your discretion was widely appreciated. The death of this Scarrett fellow was unavoidable. You had no choice.
I didn't think your health enough improved to attend my funeral.
Most thoughtful. Any news of his ludicrously named employer?
Major Mystery is at large.
Well, you tied up the other bits very nicely. Carter is pleased. I've heard from Silverbridge, even Lawton is chastened. You have just cause for celebration.
Mr. Holmes, you're not resting. Matron specifically warned me that your brother would overstay his allotted time. He has interfered with your feeding.
Very well, sister. He and Dr. Watson are just leaving. You may bring in that gruel masquerading as food. We only have a moment, Sherlock. I don't wish Matron to receive a bad report. My minister informs me that a certain gracious lady has requested your attendance at Kensington. Please wear a clean cravat. My thanks for all you've done.
Best not keep her waiting. Be well, brother. Watson?
My appreciation, Mr. Holmes. I don't mind saying that your account was more enlightening than the PM's. You're certain my grandson was not implicated in the travesty?
Absolutely, ma'am. The Kaiser was truly outraged by the theft. His assistance in apprehending the malefactors was invaluable.
Your sovereign and your nation are grateful for your discreet and expeditious handling of this delicate matter, Mr. Holmes. And if you will pardon the language, this mystery seems the scum of the earth.
Your language is always appropriate, ma'am.
I'm ashamed of my part in this, ma'am. I trust there is no reason for the Prince of Wales to learn of it. I should think not. I regret that Bertie is far from a model of discretion in these matters. And you are not culpable, Alexandra. It was that Lawton fellow. Lawton behaved a perfect fool, your Majesty. But I was not blameless. I was so grateful when he cleaned up the awful mess Prince Eddie made. I don't believe I could have denied Lawton anything he asked. Perhaps I was flirting a little. Still, it was most unwise to have sent such a photograph. I apologize, ma'am. Ancient history, my dear. Think no more of it. This story need not leave this room at any time soon, Mr. Holmes.
Indeed not, Your Majesty. The public, the police, and most of the government shall remain ignorant of the entire matter. The formula is secure. The composite has been recovered. Most of the villains have paid the ultimate penalty for their crimes. I'm sure one of the late Prince's charities can find a use for the Prussians' money.
Thank you. Now, indulge me for a moment more. Brown, if you will. Please assume the customary position. For services to country and crown, I dub thee Knight of the Distinguished Service Order. Arise. This honor, like the rest of this wretched matter, must remain a secret. I'm sorry.
If I have rendered service to my brother, to my country, and to you, ma'am, I am justly and handsomely rewarded.
Nicely said, Sir Sherlock. Doctor, Brown will show you out.
A grateful and generous sovereign is a fine thing, Holmes.
Indeed, but no better than a true friend. My thanks for all you did, Watson. The case has concluded, Watson. Are you near finishing your account?
I've recorded most of its events, those I witnessed and those you told me about, but the historical record demands a summary. Some issues are not entirely clear.
I am not surprised. This was a most peculiar and troubling matter.
I admired your reasoning early on that the 3 investigations were linked. The suppression of the inquiry and the attempt on Mycroft were in support of the theft. Nevertheless, I lost my way through the investigation a number of times.
You were not alone. I call to your attention the complexity of the conspiracy, its political, diplomatic, and military implications, the dazzling audacity of the villains, the calculated cruelty in support of treason. Is it any wonder we made a false start or two?
I must say that it did not help that you were enraged by the attempt on Mycroft's life.
I accept that criticism. My anger may have been as much of a debility as it was an inspiration. But I was not prepared for any solution to the matter which did not include the apprehension of his would-be assassin.
Fortunately, he turned out to be a person we wanted for other reasons. Are you satisfied with the disposition of the committee members?
They will answer to Mycroft. Everybody in this case but he was self-interested. To varying degrees, they were petty, mean, foolish, greedy, ambitious, vicious, or just plain stupid. Some had better reasons than others. Those will serve as mitigation.
Why did you let Lawton off so easily? The man is a self-righteous idiot who has gambled his way into debt and must make an unpleasant marriage to get out of it.
My anger is spent, Watson. Should more lives be ruined by this wretched business? I could produce the chain of evidence that would cook his goose, but royal involvement made it very fragile. He will suffer for his deeds, I guarantee it.
I suspect that you knew the composite was the crux of the case much earlier than you revealed to me.
That is a just and succinct summation, Watson. We should let it rest there.
Amazing, Holmes. Should I live 100 years, I'm sure I shall never meet your equal.
My thanks, Watson. Major Mr. A, I think, would warmly disagree with your generous praise. No doubt we shall have to deal with him in time. There was no real acquiescence in the man. He will find another cat's paw to do his bidding. I believe I could sacrifice my life gladly if such a man could be eliminated. The Bosworth emeralds have gone missing. Disappeared into thin air, apparently. Police are mystified. That's hardly newsworthy. It's their natural state.
You'll be asked to put your head to that puzzlement before too long, or I'm no judge of the skills of Scotland Yard. Speaking of which, how was your interview with Lestrade?
He's not happy, but what can he do? His corpses are identified, the crimes which caused them are solved. He's ignorant of the political implications, of course. Speaking of which, I suppose Bismarck's future is not very bright. I shouldn't be surprised to see him dismissed ignominiously in the near future. I don't know if that will be a good or bad thing for the Kaiser, or for England.
All of Europe is tending toward a tizzy, Holmes. When the old Queen dies, there will be war, I'll wager.
I'm afraid you may be right. Fights among families are often the most bitter. Still, she's good for some years, I imagine. We will keep her confidence, won't we, Doctor?
I've taken measures, Holmes. The privacy of the royal family will be protected. For a century, anyhow. Play that phrase again, will you?